In this video, we will learn how to make a scarf. And in this video, we've actually already created our very first row, which is called casting on. From this point, we're actually going to begin knitting. And this is just going to be a simple knit stitch. We're going to make the entire scarf with one stitch. It's called a knit stitch. And by creating one scarf with one particular type of stitch, like the knit stitch, it just gets you very comfortable with that stitch. So I recommend as you learn each different type of stitch, you just make one item with that same stitch over and over again. And once you become comfortable with it, then we'll start making scarves with different types of stitches in it so that you have patterns throughout the scarf. So again, we're beginning our scarf. We have already casted on, so we are ready to begin knitting with the knit stitch. And if you count your loops at the top, there are 20. Every row that we knit, we want to make sure we always do 20. If we exceed or go below that, the width of our scarf will become, different. It will be unstable. It won't be symmetrical. So you want to begin by just pushing your loops to the end. And the simple knit stitch just goes to the back. You want to keep these crossed. And you're going to take your yarn from the ball of yarn. Let's get some extra out here. And you're going to cross over and underneath and push off. Again, go under, keeping the knitting needles crossed. Counterclockwise wrap of the yarn, putting this finger the tip of the needle and push down, and your needle goes under and push off. Going under, keep the needles crossed, counterclockwise wrap, finger up here to push the needle down, and under, and push off. Go under, keeping your needles crossed, counterclockwise wrap, finger up here to push off, and push under and off. Going behind, counterclockwise wrap of the thread. Keep your index finger up here to push the needle down and under and up to push off. Okay, remember, we're going to the back, keep the needles crossed, counterclockwise wrap of the thread, index finger on the tip of the needle to push it down and under, and then up and off. pushing towards the back, counterclockwise wrap, index finger on the needle to push it down and under, and then up and off. And don't panic when you get to the end. You're still going to go through the same motions on this very last loop that you see. So remember, just go towards the back, counterclockwise wrap, finger on the tip of the needle to push it down and under, up and off. Go towards the back, counterclockwise wrap, finger on the tip of the needle, push it down and under, up and off. And here we are on the last one. You're going to do the exact same thing. Needle goes towards the back, counterclockwise wrap, finger on the needle, push it down, up, and off. And now we are ready to begin with our second row of knitting. So always put the threaded part back in your left hand. And notice how it's kind of twisted. Each time you begin knitting your next row, always make sure that you push the thread down, kind of pull it down a little bit, so that your loops are always on top. This shows you neatly what your scarf is going to look like. Your scarf is going to be coming down like this. So you always want the scarf towards the bottom and your loops showing at the top. And you're ready to begin your next row. And we're going to repeat what we just did. Go towards the back, keep your needles crossed, counterclockwise wrap, index finger on the tip of the needle to push it down, under, up and off. Push towards the back, counterclockwise wrap, index finger on the needle, push it down, under and off. Push the needle towards the back, keeping the needles crossed, counterclockwise wrap of the thread, index finger on the needle, push it down, up and off. Needle towards the back, counterclockwise wrap, index finger on the needle, push it down, under, up and off. Needle towards the back, counterclockwise wrap, index finger on the needle, push it down, under, up and off. Push the needle towards the back, counterclockwise wrap, index finger on the needle, push it down, under, up and off. And remember, we just do this 20 times for this one. That's how many loops I have. And you don't do anything different when you get to the end. It's still push towards the back, counterclockwise wrap, index finger on the needle, push it down, under, up and off. Push towards the back, clockwise wrap, index finger, push it down, under, up and off. Push towards the back, keeping these crossed, counterclockwise wrap, push it down, under, up and off. And remember, to begin your next row. Now that you've finished, you just take the thread and put it in your left hand to begin again. And you remember, you need to straighten this out before you begin your next row. And pull it a little bit to tighten this up, make it look nice. And to keep yourself on track, to make sure you're not doing too many, count your loops at the top. Make sure you still have the same number you started with. And you're ready to begin your next row.